I've been holding on to a lot of anger towards you.
Damn it! Back off, Lucy!
You never know if something's going to happen. So I got the script, and it was in the early shooting of the final season of Saul. And I read it, and I really liked it. I found it so different from Saul, the character and the tone of the show, obviously. It's not a genre piece at all. There's no guns, there's no drugs, there's no zombies, there's no dystopian anything. And there's humor, and I just felt like I kind of related to the guy more than Saul was hard to play because he's quite different from me. And this guy was a little closer to me, and I thought it'd be fun to also hit some comedy. Lucky Hank is a funny show. I think Lucky Hank is like 51% comedy, 49% drama. That's what I've come up with. So I wanted to you always want to do something different than what you're doing right now, and I thought this would be a great next project if it could happen.
Do you guys confer with the 51-49?
Yeah, let's hear from the writers.
That's a good question. I would maybe more like 48.
It definitely shifts episode to episode.
I've done a lot of drama on TV. I did a lot of comedy on stage in New York. And then I did a lot of drama on TV. And this is such a happy marriage of those two. But it's like mysterious, like you're in a funny moment and then suddenly like you're in heartache. It's really like life in that way.
Yeah.
I'll say that, our college experience was a very positive one, Paul and mine. And we loved the idea that, here's this kind of like utopian place where, nothing else matters outside the world. You learn and you do whatever you do. And I mean, it should be perfect, right? But so often for the life of a professor, as the ones we knew and the ones we talked to, it was a little more complicated than that. And this juxtaposition between what should be utopia and what's often not was really funny and interesting to us, and existential in a way.
I went to 4 colleges. I went to College of DuPage, Marquette University, Southern Illinois University, and Columbia College in Chicago. Mostly went to Southern. And interestingly, Richard Russo, who wrote the novel Straight Man, which the show Lucky Hank is based on, taught at Southern Illinois University. Like the year I left, he was there for like 7 years or something after that. So I actually think some of it is based on his time at SIU. I don't have experience with academia, but I have friends who are professors. And the notion of the infighting that happens and the kind of, the competition is really true. It's a small group of people. You're just all over each other.
And we did talk to a lot of people. Everyone can find. My wife is a professor in the English department at Santa Monica College, and but we talked to pretty much every friend we could, and then we had the book to fall back on.
What a cast!
Yeah,
They're so incredible.
The best.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm coming out of Better Call Saul, and this cast in Lucky Hank is amazing. It's just funny, smart, dramatic.
And people are going to surprise you. I mean, Cedric Yarborough does a dramatic monologue as well as anybody could do it. And that, he's mostly known for dick jokes, I think, but he's an incredible actor.
It's part of the love affair that we had on set is that everybody is so good in their own right. And then everybody arrived here. And because of this kind of amorphous, shifting tone of Hank, people got to do things that they're not normally invited to do. And it made everyone so happy. I mean, Cedric, after that day of the monologue, he was like, that's maybe like the most fulfilling day of work I've ever had. It's really, it's just awesome.
They're also rich. You feel like they could each have their own show. Just, I'll stay with that character and watch what he or she does for 8 episodes.
Oscar Nunez is outstanding in Lucky Hank.
Yeah, we kind of found each other. It was a weird mix, but somehow it all came together. I mean, Bob in a way is the nexus, I guess, because he's had such an interesting career of comedy and drama, and it was just the right kind of mix of things. And then Pete Farrelly joined the team too, and that was just like a dream. He's we've all loved his work for decades. Yeah. But it all started with Mark Johnson, I should say, because he owned the rights to the book, or he had the rights to the book. And
folks, if you're watching Hi, Den of Geek, I'm Bob Odenkirk. There's a legend here sitting right in front of you. It's not me. It's that guy right there. Mark, talk about just a few of the many projects you've been associated with. Talk about start with your Oscar.
Which Oscar is that? For Rain Man, and then with this man did both Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and I'm the idiot who had the book for I don't know how long, and this wonderful script from these two guys, and I was afraid to give it to Bob. I thought it was going to break his concentration for Saul Goodman. So when Aaron called and said I gave it to Bob, I was like, well, why didn't I do that?
Mark is like a legendary producer here, and he had the book Straight Man, so he really got the ball rolling with this project. And then these guys, and then I came along later.
I'd been looking for something for a long time that was more kind of in this world, this kind of human life world. And then this script arrived. I was madly in love with it from the first scene, which Lily isn't in, But it was this incredibly articulate, funny monologue from Hank in the classroom. And I knew this was the door I wanted to walk through, that this was the world I wanted to play in, but I hadn't even gotten to Lily yet. And it actually... Usually when I know I'm going to do a project, it's because I can hear her right away from the page. Lily, it was slower. I could hear him. I could hear lots of people. I couldn't hear her until I got to the scene about New York. And then I was like, that's the heart of it. That's where she lives. That's where her longing is.
So Mireille's, we got so excited when she was excited. Aaron wrote with her on The Killing. I'm just a huge fan. But yeah, hadn't seen any of the theater comedy. Didn't know it. Was a little nervous, started watching everything. Saw a little short called Horse Who Said Hey.
Oh my goodness, that was so
which
embarrassing.
was so funny. Your comic timing was just so perfect.
Now that you bring it up, it is a pretty amazing thing that this group got together.
Yeah.
And that everyone comes from such different places in the industry and has done such great work. I can talk about that. Straight Man is Richard Russo's novel that this Lucky Hank is based on. And when he wrote it, Hank is constantly joking, and I get to do that, and I love that. He's always making jokes. Some are very funny, some are mildly funny, but he can't help himself. He's going to say a joke if he's got it near his head. It's a reactionary thing for him. It's more about his psychology than the actual, like he's not developing an act for stand-up night. So Straight Man was about a comedy duo, which is an old term for, in a comedy team, the straight man and the clown of a comedy team. So Dean Martin would be the straight man. And famously, the straight man is kind of rolling his eyes at the clown, and that's how Hank looks at the world, is like, look at these idiots around me. And but of course, Straight Man doesn't mean what it did when that book came out. When did the book come out?
97?
Yeah.
97. Boy, things have changed fast. It so much means, your sexual orientation, and that has nothing to do with what the show is.
Even my 12-year-old, when I said, "Oh, I'm working on a new show, it's called Straight Man," she wrinkled up her nose. She was like, "Why is it called that?" I was like, "Oh, yeah, it means something completely different now."
Yeah, so a different title was needed. And, well, Lucky Hank, I don't want to say what it means to me because I hope that people watch the show and see what it means to them. But I think it has a lot of different meanings to the show. And the first thing you can assume is he's not particularly lucky in the overt way. Yeah. I always think I'm in great shape until I do something and rip a muscle, which I did in the first episode, just from running. I am in good shape, but so what? I'm 62. I mean, it's fun, especially fun to take somebody who lives inside their head, a character who lives inside their head, and have them do physical, stupid shit. And I love doing it. So I'm up for it, even if it hurts me. The voiceover aspect of the show is also a really unique aspect that I don't think you see a lot of. You're sort of privy to this character's private musings that tend to be sarcastic and exaggerate things or kind of poke fun at the world around him.
Yeah, the voiceover, there's kind of a tricky thing with voiceover because you can so easily start to rely on it to try to twist story, to try to be false. When you haven't truly achieved something, you try to patch it up, and we really didn't want to do that. Yet there's such an internal, a rich internal life to this character. We needed to get more of it out. So it's just in moments he finds something to think about, to comment on. It might not even be about what the scene is. Usually has a subtext to try to advance things, but it's a window into Hank.
And it's what's in the novel. So we're trying to struggle. How do we keep that observation that the storyteller, Hank, is telling us, and how do we keep that in without actually having to voice it? So these guys very effectively, I think, were able to translate it.
I think it's a little mispresented. Let me make sure everyone understands. It's not a remake. It's a reading, but we act it out. So is it a remake? I guess, I don't know. But this is for charity. I was invited to do a reading of the movie The Room, and I would play Tommy's character. Love that movie, and I love everything about it, and I love the phenomenon of it. And I said, for sure, I will do that, whether no one watches it or I'll do it alone in my room. With the door shut, if it'll help anything, or just because you asked me to. And so we did it in front of green screen. Only here's what I want people to know. We didn't make fun of it, okay? Because that's already been done. So you don't need to do it. People have already laughed about it and joked about it and made fun of it. We tried to take the script and ask ourselves, if we had the script, if my manager said, you're doing this, you have to do it. You owe a favor to, I don't know who, the universe. Just do your best with these lines. And I want you to know that I do every line. I don't change the lines. If there's a laugh, if Tommy's character laughs, in the movie, ha, those laughs, I laugh, but I don't laugh like he does. I try to make it honest and somehow organic to the scene. So that's what I tried to do. I really tried to play it as though it's a real, it's the best I can do. And I can't wait to see it, man. I can't wait. It's going to be it's going to be dumb. But it could be kind of beautiful. And if we pull off even one moment, I'll be so happy. If we get you to watch and see one scene and go, oh, feel sorry for Tommy, or feel something honest that the scene is trying to put out there, it'll be a great achievement.